What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. Week 1 was a very busy and eventful week as we saw college football come back in the biggest way in recent memory. Week 2 is going to be a slower week, but there are still some interesting matchups to watch, and I'm here going to preview and predict my top 10 biggest games of Week 2. Again, these are games I feel like are going to impact the playoff race, conference championship race, and overall games that I'm just interested to watch. We're going to get into my predictions here in a little bit. But before we do that, some business to take care of. Hey, if you guys are not already subscribed, we are so close to 400 subscribers. If you guys can help me get there, that would be awesome. So if you clicked on this video, you obviously had an interest in it. If you could hit that subscribe button, that would mean a lot to me. Ringing the bell as well so you know when I upload if you would like to stick around and see more of me. Like, share, comment, do all that good stuff if you would like to support the channel. If you just want to hear my thoughts, hey, I also have no problem with that either. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear my thoughts. All games that I'm previewing, again, there are some games going on tonight. There are 4 games on tonight, so enjoy those. But all games I'm previewing are going to be on 9/11. So, of course, the 20th anniversary as we commemorate those that gave their lives, service, lost their lives, and everything in between on that tragic day in U.S. history. Again, I wasn't even born then. Some people watching this video might be. So again, as we commemorate that this week, we're going to see tributes and things all around. Some uniforms worn. I believe Nebraska's pulling out one. I know Air Force and Navy, which is not on this video, is a game going on this week that I surely am going to tune into. So a lot of things like that going on this week. But you've seen it on the screen for about 30 seconds now. Oregon is going to be traveling to Columbus to take on my Ohio State Buckeyes in a 2014 national title rematch. All times you're going to see here in Eastern Standard Time with all lines and odds as of recording this video. So Ohio State, 14.5-point favorite with the over and under being 63.5. And this is the big noon game on Fox. Very big game for both of these teams. As usual, I'm going to give you some what to watch for. 3 things that I'm going to be interested to watch throughout these games. So Thibodeau's status. Kayvon Thibodeau went down with an injury in that game against Fresno State. And something tells me that he isn't, well, he might play in this game, but something tells me that we aren't going to know until 30 minutes before kickoff. So watch for that. The Ducks passing versus the Bucks secondary. Buckeye secondary saw some improvement last week against Minnesota, but still has a lot of things to work on. It's the same thing with Oregon's passing game. It looked okay in that game against Fresno State, but there's room for improvement. So watch for that matchup. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. And which run game is more productive? We know both these teams can run the football, but both of these defensive front sevens are pretty good, especially now that Ohio State, I literally just got a notification on my phone. Ohio State does have that linebacker transfer from USC granted immediate eligibility. After a couple of days ago, he was previously denied. So he might end up playing in this game. I'm not quite sure on that, but he already is in Columbus. I would be shocked if we don't see him on the football field tomorrow. With that being said, guys, you can call me biased on this one, but I have a feeling Ohio State's going to kind of blow Oregon out of the water. I think Oregon's going to keep this one close, especially with their running attack. They're going to be able to exploit the Buckeyes secondary early, but I think Ohio State will do a great job of adjusting. And again, this Ohio State offense is very explosive. I think we're going to see a lot of big plays from the Buckeyes, and I think Ohio State cements themselves as a top 5 team this weekend with a win over the Ducks. Pitt and Tennessee are going to meet in Knoxville for the team's first true test this year. This is also a noon game, and it's on ESPN. Pitt, 3-point favorite, 56.5 is the over and under. So, of course, first true test. What do I mean by that? Well, here you go. Pitt played UMass in week 1, and Tennessee played Bowling Green. Yeah, so this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup here in Knoxville. I'm excited to watch this Panthers rushing attack. It was really good last week against UMass, and I think has the opportunity to be pretty good here against Tennessee. But the Vols front 7 brings back a lot of experience, even without Henry To'oTo'o, who was their leading tackler for the last 2 years. Now, of course, at Alabama. That's going to be a matchup to watch. Pitt, never really a team that has been known for running the football, especially in the past couple of years. But last week, they were very good. So we'll see if that continues. Can Milton improve his accuracy issue? He started out 9 of 11 in that game against Bowling Green, but quickly went 2 for 12 in his last 12 attempts, bringing his total to 11 of 23. That's got to improve because this Pitt secondary is pretty darn good. They usually have a lot of good players in the secondary for Pitt. And Tennessee is also going to have to keep up offensively because Kenny Pickett, one of the more experienced quarterbacks in the nation, has a lot of good weapons out there. Speaking of quarterbacks, the offensive lines have to provide protection in this game. Both these defenses are going to be able to get back to the quarterbacks. Whichever offensive line can win the line of scrimmage has a great chance of winning this game. But all in all, I do see Pitt as being the more talented team with the amount that Tennessee lost in the offseason, especially at that running back position. I don't think that Tennessee is going to be able to keep up with this Pitt offense. So I think Pittsburgh wins this one here, 35-27. That is my final score prediction. Again, don't really pay attention to that. Pay attention to who I have winning these games. But for Pitt, I think they're a more experienced team. I think they're a more talented team. I think you see a lot of defense early in the first half, but late in the first half and into the second half, the offense starts to pick up. And I see this one being a Pitt win. So the ACC finally gets a win over an SEC opponent in 2021. And we're going to stay with an SEC team. Texas A&M is going to be battling Colorado in an old Big 12 conference showdown in Mile High Stadium in Denver. This game is 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fox. So if you're interested in watching this one and you're also interested in Ohio State, Oregon, don't change the channel. That is my thoughts out to you. Texas A&M, 17-point favorite. Over and under is an even 50. Both these rushing attacks were very, very good in their week one matchup. So which rushing attack is more explosive in this game? Again, you have guys like Isaiah Spiller and Achane back there for Texas A&M, while you have Jarek Broussard at Colorado. So we know both these teams can run the football. Which one does it more efficiently? That's the question. Again, same story as last game. Whichever team can win the line of scrimmage has a good chance of winning this one. And then quarterback play. Both these quarterbacks starting for these teams are young, inexperienced, and both of them had okay debuts last week. But again, there is so much room for improvement. I do like the quarterback that is starting at Colorado. And while I like Haynes King, threw 3 picks last game. So again, got to clean that up. Turnovers could also come into play in this one as well. I expect this one to be defensive early, and again, offense picks up later in Mile High. Going to be an interesting one to watch. We'll see how Mile High affects both these teams' play. Colorado, I think, would be more used to it than Texas A&M, but again, Colorado plays in Boulder, right? But I think Colorado can keep this one close. I think Colorado does keep this one close for the better part of 2 or 3 quarters, but I do see Texas A&M slightly pulling this one away. I think Colorado's going to play competitive, but the Aggies are going to be too much. They're going to win this one 31-20. That's my final prediction. The Aggies, top 5 team in the nation, stay that way after week 2 with a win over the Buffaloes. All right, how about this matchup, right? The biggest matchup in week 1, in week 2, right? Biggest matchup in week 2, a top 10 battle between Iowa and Iowa State, as both these teams are going to have more than one trophy on the line in the Cyhawk rivalry. Well, what do I mean by that? Playoffs, guys. The playoff picture is going to be shaped by this matchup here. Of course, Iowa got a win last week against a very good Indiana team, and Iowa State kind of struggled with Northern Iowa. So we'll see what happens in this one. Iowa State is the 4.5-point favorite, as you might expect. Game is at 4:30 on ABC, over and under 46.5. I want to watch the rushing battle happen. Iowa's not necessarily a team that gets a lot of offense, and I think this is going to be a pretty defensive game, as the Cyhawk battles usually are. But Tyler Goodson versus Breece Hall, both of these running backs are absolutely fantastic. We're going to see both of them, I think, have really good games here. And that also is going to be opening up the passing attack. So which passing attack looks better, I think, is going to determine on which rushing attack looks better. So keep an eye on both of these offenses. Because again, a couple points can mean a lot. The past couple games in the Cyhawk series have been pretty close. As I said earlier, I think it's going to be a defensive game. And just an interesting fact here for you. This is the first time that both of these teams are ranked in this series. And hey, both of them happen to be ranked in the top 10. This is by far the biggest Cyhawk game in its history. It means so much more than a trophy and pride over the other school. This could be a huge, huge game come college football playoff time, and I think the winner of this game cements themselves as a top 10 team in the nation. And I'm going to predict that to be Iowa State. I think Iowa State does have the more explosive offense, and while they struggled against Northern Iowa, the Iowa State's going to come out here, play some passionate football. Matt Campbell is a man on a mission. You guys know how much I like this Iowa State team. Week one never usually goes super smoothly for Iowa State. Look back last week when they lost to Louisiana. Again, they struggled in week one, but they quickly are able to flip a switch and turn it around under Matt Campbell. I think that's what happens in this game. And I have the Cyclones winning the Cyhawk battle 22-17, as Iowa won't fall out of the top 25, but definitely makes the job a little bit harder for them to get to the playoff, as Iowa State is on their way to cementing themselves as a top 10 team. Texas and Arkansas are renewing a rivalry this week, as the former foes are going to meet on a neutral site in Arlington, Texas. This is a 7 o'clock game on ESPN between the 15th ranked Longhorns and, of course, the underestimated Arkansas Razorbacks. Texas does find themselves as a 7-point favorite, with the over-under being 56.5. But honestly, guys, I would not be surprised if Arkansas ends up winning this game. Arkansas has the talent. They have the experience. And you know what? Arkansas might just be looking to give Texas a taste of what SEC football is all about, as the Texas Longhorns are set to join the conference next year or in some of the years that follow. But very, very soon, this will become an SEC regular season game. Now, it is not this year, so let's preview the matchup ahead. Arkansas's defense is going to be tested. They've seen Steve Sarkisian's offense before. Will they be able to defend it better now that Steve Sarkisian is the head coach at Texas? Texas defense did look pretty good as well, though. So this Arkansas defense, while yes, it's going to be tested, again, that's going to be a big storyline, right? Can Arkansas's defense slow down the Steve Sarkisian offense? Also, the quarterback battle is going to be taking shape. Hudson Card versus KJ Jefferson. Now, both of these guys looked okay. Well, I should say Hudson Card actually looked pretty good. KJ Jefferson looked okay, but they didn't really need him to do much on account of Traylon Smith's rushing game on the ground. So the quarterback battle will be interesting to watch. And this one, whichever quarterback plays better, good chance to win this one here. In my opinion, though, I do think Steve Sarkisian's offense is going to be a little bit much for Arkansas to handle. So I do have Texas winning this one by, well, a score that you've seen before, right? 35-27 again is my score, same as the Pitt Tennessee game. I do feel like this one's going to be fairly high scoring, some good offense. Catalong for Arkansas had 2 picks. We'll see if they throw his way in this game. Again, you kind of expect him to, but a win here for Texas in this one. App State and Miami. Now we're going to quickly run through this one, but I'm going to put this game on upset alert here. They're going to hope to pull off a surprising upset against Miami. I'm interested to see how Miami rebounds after that loss against Alabama. 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Miami only a 9-point favorite, which surprised me because App State, while they bring a good running game and they can pressure the quarterback, I'm expecting De'Aaron King to have a really, really big game. Pressuring the quarterback is going to be key for both of these teams, as App State was able to do it pretty successfully against East Carolina, and Miami wasn't really able to do it at all against Bryce Young and Alabama. So room for improvement for Miami, but if App State can get to De'Aaron King, it could be another long day for Miami. I don't see this upset happening, though. I see Miami winning 34-21, but I do think when you look at the scoreboard at halftime, you're going to be surprised by what you see. I think App State's going to keep this one closer than some people might expect. I definitely think Miami beats the spread, though, and Miami rebounds after that loss to Bama. Week 2 offers another ACC versus SEC game. Again, just like Pitt, Tennessee. This one, though, NC State is going to go play Mississippi State. 7 o'clock game on ESPN2. NC State, as of recording this video, again, only a 1-point favorite. And both these teams want to know NC State was dominant in their win against USF, and Mississippi State had quite a hill to climb against Louisiana Tech. They had a lot of turnover problems in that game. I believe they lost 5 fumbles. It was something like that. Mississippi State had a lot of turnovers against Louisiana Tech, a lot of turnovers, and that's going to cause a problem for this NC State defense that, again, gave up 0 points in week 1. And along with the defensive side, NC State brings a very balanced offense. Zonovan Knight was able to do whatever he wanted against South Florida, and Devin Leary, that it opened up the passing game for him. So a very balanced Wolfpack offense here. Mississippi State's defense going to need to come up and make some stops like it did late in the Louisiana Tech game. But the ACC have struggled against SEC opponents. I picked Pittsburgh to beat Tennessee in this one. That would be the ACC's first win against an SEC opponent this year. Now I'm going to go ahead and predict 2. I think North Carolina State is good enough to win this one. And again, like I've told you guys all season, I'm just not quite sure what I think about this Mississippi State team. 31-21 is my final prediction for this one, as I think the ACC rebounds this week and beats some SEC opponents. Missouri and Kentucky, speaking of the SEC, they're going to look to cement their place as an SEC dark horse. 7:30 on the SEC network, as Kentucky, the 5-point favorite, with the over and under being an even 56. These defenses are going to be tested. Both of these offenses have some really, really good pieces in with them. Of course, Chris Rodriguez there at Kentucky, the running back from Missouri, now that Larry Roundtree is gone, still had a really good game in Missouri's come-from-behind win against Central Michigan. And breaking news, Kentucky has a passing game with Josh Ali as their leading receiver right now. Wan'Dale Robinson had a great game as well, the former Nebraska transfer, as Will Levis, the former Penn State transfer, threw for almost 400 yards against arguably one of the worst teams in FBS and University of Louisiana Monroe. But Kentucky looked good in that one there. The Tigers have a lot of big play potential. They opened up the first pass of that Missouri quarterback's career was a bomb, an absolute bomb down the field. This is going to be a very interesting one to watch here. In the offseason, I said this one could go either way, and I think I even picked Missouri to beat Kentucky. Not now. My mind has been changed because of what I've seen from Kentucky. That passing attack, it could be at elite levels, and I think Kentucky is going to prove to themselves this week, prove to themselves and to everyone in the country that they are the dark horse in the SEC. I have them winning this one 34-24. Kentucky gets this one done. Washington is going to hope to rebound from a very surprising and utterly disappointing loss against Montana as they play the Michigan Wolverines in prime time. This is the primetime game on ABC, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Michigan is the 6.5-point favorite, with the over and under being 48.5. So defense expected in this one. Who replaces Ronnie Bell? That's the key thing there. In my opinion, Cornelius Johnson is that next best running back for Michigan. But of course, Ronnie Bell went down with that ACL injury. Tragic injury there for Ronnie Bell. I wish nothing but the best for him. But again, Cornelius Johnson going to have to step into a bigger role for this Michigan team. How do the Huskies respond to the loss? How does this Washington team improve from week 2 to week 1? This is a much tougher Michigan team. This is a much bigger Michigan team than what they saw last week against Montana on both the offensive and defensive sides. We'll see if Washington is up to the task. I've already said this is going to be a defensive game, and it shows in my final score prediction. I see this one as being very low scoring. And you know what? Washington, with the turnover problems they had with with that starting quarterback for Washington throwing 3 interceptions. I have a feeling it's going to be a similar story this week. I think Michigan's defense, can't talk today. I think Michigan's defense forces that extra turnover to give them the edge, and Michigan wins a defensive battle 20-14 as Washington falls to 0-2. Last game I'm predicting here, Utah and BYU reignite the Holy War as the Cougars hope to end the Utes' winning streak in this rivalry series. 10:15 on ESPN. Both these teams open up 1-0, and both these teams had their respective struggles in their first one. But you know what? I think we're going to see some inspired football out here on Saturday. Utah's the 7-point favorite with the over and under being 49 even. I think there's going to be more offense than expected in this one. We're going to see inspired football. Both these offenses are capable, albeit both these defenses are pretty solid as well. BYU definitely has more things to work on than Utah, but the defenses are going to need to make some stops. And I think while everyone else expects them to, I think there's going to be more offense than expected in this one. But again, quickly talking about this one here, I think Utah's offense is more explosive than BYU's, and all around their defense is just better. I know I picked BYU to beat Utah in the offseason, and people got mad at me, respectively. But again, that was just me trying to get the team to the record that I thought they were going to get to. Again, predictions can change. My prediction has definitely changed here. I think Utah wins this one 35-24. BYU keeps it close, but Utah does just enough to pull this one out. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for my week 2 predictions. If you guys enjoyed the video, please support the channel any way you can. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, do anything you can. It really does mean a lot to me. If you guys would like to hear me talk about another game, leave it down in the comment section below. I'll give you a quick rundown and prediction of who I think is going to win that one. But again, until next time, next video I upload will, of course, be my Ohio State fan reaction to that Oregon game, along with on Sunday, my week 2 review. So remember to play hard but tailgate harder. See all you guys later. Goodbye.